Alright, good morning or good afternoon whenever you're watching this. So as promised, I kind of let the first week of classes kind of roll through and wanted to have a little video about best practices with your MyMathLab. And so this video is not about the introduction to Canvas. It's more so like when you're in MyMathLab or when you're doing your work, what's the best practices? So we come into Canvas and you can scroll down through your announcements, getting started, module 0, which you should have completed. Then you get into module 1, which is basically like test number 1. And you can see that I had posted, opened up a couple more things, but you can see that 1.1 PowerPoints were open and available last week. One practice with this would be is that you go ahead and you could download this and print it out. And you could take notes and you could annotate over top of this. So let me kind of get my screen set up a little bit more efficiently. But so you could download this and print it out, and then that way you could just annotate on top of it. So you could go through and as you're watching videos, you could label things that they say, things that are explained, on each one of these things. So however you want to do that, that's kind of up to you. Or you just take notes on a clean piece of paper like you would if you were in class taking things off the board. So, however, that PowerPoint is available to you to use. Then before you really leave Canvas, what I recommend is that we have two different places where there are videos. And so what we've done is we've pulled some older videos from the textbook company that we feel are very relevant to this content. And then we have some very specific videos that are relevant to the content inside of MyMathLab on a particular question. But what I would do is, I would more than likely print out the PowerPoint with maybe we're doing as slides. You have the spot on the side to be able to take the notes. And then I would come down here to the videos and I would click on the video for that, the first video for that section. And I'd have my little notes, my PowerPoint laying in front of me, and I would hit play. And and I would sit here and I would watch this video and go through and think about the examples and take notes down as needed. But I would move through this pretty efficiently. I wouldn't, by the way, that's not me. That is another I'm not sure if he's a professor or what he is, but he works for Pearson. It looks like it's somewhat outdated of a video, but the content doesn't change. So that's the beauty of these videos. But back to what we were saying is that I don't want you to sit here and grind through this video and just dwell on it. I want you to familiarize yourself with the video. I want you to watch it through, kind of take a mental note. Oh, that's where they showed us how to do this. Oh, that's how they showed us how to do this. Maybe jotting down a few things. But there are two videos, so you can see, you can either click on that'll move you forward to the next video. I'm sorry, the next section of the video. And then, or you can go back into module 1. You get your breadcrumbs up here. And you can watch, you've got the second video here. We can click on that. And it's going to go through and play for you. And then you can go back to module 1 again. And you got your third video, identifying intercepts. So, like I said, I would just go through and kind of just, take the time to watch them. Take the time to take the information in. Jot down a couple little notes as needed, but don't dwell on this. And the reason I ask you not to dwell on it is because you'll see is now I'm going to go ahead and switch over to MyMathLab. So now here I am in MyMathLab, and what I want you to kind of pay attention here is that I've got a lot of resources right here, but what do I really need to focus on? What, as your professor for this course, what do I want you to focus on? How do I want you to move through this content is kind of what this video is about. So you've got obviously the calendar, which is super nice. It kind of shows you, you can scroll through and you can see, ooh, I've got some stuff due. That's what the little clock means, due. You can see, due today, available today, submitted. So I've already played around with section 1.1 and have submitted it. I didn't really submit because I didn't do any questions. And then it's got another icon here, just kind of listing things out. Alright, so you can either use that, so when you hover over this, you can come down and click on that link right there, or you can come down to what to work on next. So I'm just going to go into 1.1 to kind of talk about it. So here I am, I'm inside of 1.1. This gives me the option to see I've got 16 questions to take care of. I've got a little note there that work's going to be 10% deducted if you're after the due date. Even if it's after the due date, it's very important that you complete it because homework plays a huge role in the learning process. So let's go into question number 1. What is the procedure? What is the method that I want you to use to be successful in this class? So since you don't have an opportunity to come and sit in a classroom and for me to teach you, and then you go home and you practice the homework, you're kind of going to teach yourself on each question. And then some of the questions will be repetitive. So like question 1 and question 2 in this particular case are very similar. So you're going to practice on the question 1 and be like, oh, I know how to do that from question 1. So you've watched the videos inside of Canvas. So you've got a base foundation of what we're going to cover in section 1.1. You come in here to 1.1, you're like, whew, man, I remember like the quadrants, I remember that kind of stuff, but I don't remember where the positive and negatives are. So you come over here to question help. You've got a help me solve, so I'm going to kind of walk through each one. So help me solve is basically going to like walk you through a process. It's going to explain to you like each step. So first the number indicates the x direction, the second number indicates the y direction. Remember, this video is not about me teaching you math. This video is about teaching you the process that you want to go through inside of Canvas and MyMathLab. Then they tell you, okay, so to plot -5, 9, or x equals -5 and y equals 9, first determine the distance and direction the x coordinate tells you to move. So not asking you to do anything, just read right now. Alright, starting at the origin, move 5 units in which direction? So if you're going -5, so you could tell it, I'm going to do incorrect on purpose, so I'm going to say to the right. I say check answer, and it's going to give me feedback. Recall that positive numbers are above or to the right. Negative numbers are to the left or below or to the left. So now it gives me a chance to go ahead and says, oh, okay, so here's the correct answer. Alright, next, determine the y. And so it's going to walk me through this process. It's going to give me an example of each thing, really making me think about why that's the answer. Okay, so there's an option, right? And then so once you go through this, and I'm going to go ahead and finish this guy up. So up, check your answer. Excellent. Gives you positive feedback or redirection if you get it wrong. Alright, so boom, you got it. You come back. And you're still on question 1 because what it did was it gave you a new question. So it gave you a chance to learn with the help from guided solute or help me solve, and now you have an opportunity to practice that question. So I'm going to go over -6, up +4, click check. Good job. Next question. Now let's just say that like I want to do another one of those. So I can go back to question 1. And on question 1, I can go back and do a similar question. So if someone's giving you a hard time, you can continue to like do this process of like, practicing to make sure that you're doing it correctly, so you can keep on checking it. So that's the cool part. That's really why I like MyMathLab, is because of the dynamic capability of it, and that you have this algorithm that will keep on reproducing the similar type of questions. And then you can see question 2 is very, very similar to question 1, and so forth. So let's use question 2 to go through. Actually, no, let's not use question 2. Let's skip forward. So this is just saying that you didn't do it, you're not going to get credit, and you say yes. Okay. Obviously, you'll come back and do questions that you skipped, but I'm skipping forward so I can get to a question. All right, so great. So here we are. So find 7 ordered pairs to the equation blank, then determine its graph. So I could view an example. So instead of help me solve, another option would be view an example. So you can read that. It goes through. It says continue. And it says, okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take that number that we gave you and you're going to plug it in for x. Remember, I'm not teaching you. This is what you're supposed to be doing here. So they're going to demonstrate that for you. Continue. And they're going to show you, okay, you plug in -2. What do you get? And you continue down the process. So you continue to choose numbers. Now, some of you might say, well, let's go ahead and just close this one out. But notice here, this was not a problem where they walked you through. This is a problem where they just showed you how to do it. They didn't make you think. Just all of a sudden, here's the answers, and where did those numbers come from, and why did they use -3 to +3? That kind of thing. So just keep that in mind. To me, sometimes example is good, but but to go through the process of actually guiding you through or helping you solve is maybe more valuable. So I'm just going to do this one real quickly to see what happens when I plug it in. So let's see, -3 times -3 is 9. That's going to be 8. Press enter. So they give you the x value to plug in. So that's not like it's a question. It's like they're going to give you each time the x to plug in. All right. So let's go ahead and skip forward. Yes, I know I'm not done with this question, and I'm just basically looking for a question, a different type of question. All right, great. So here's another example where, I've got a question, I've got help me solve, I got a view example. Wait a second, some of the options are gone, because if I go back to this question right here, well, there's no video there either. Let's go back and let's see. Let's hit the drop down. Let's go back to question 2. Yeah, so see there, certain questions will have certain resources. So most questions will have help me solve and view an example and definitely textbook, ask my instructor, and print. Some questions will also have a video or an animation. So we're going to go ahead and just use this one as an example with the video. So we have our videos inside of Canvas. Then we also have our videos here inside of these questions. So you actually have your tutorial is right there. And that's what I was talking about, where we have the videos in 2 different spots when I was showing you the ones in Canvas. So now you have a targeted video that's going to show you specifically how to do this question. So we click on it pulls up a video, and it's going to be, it's going to go through, and it's going to be a very targeted video on how to do this question. So you have that as a resource. Okay. You also have this option of an animation. So with an animation, it's basically just kind of walk you through. So it's got like, you kind of go through and it says play. All right, and so you go through and you can play around with these guys and practice as needed. That's the animation option. Textbook will be the next option, and so if you click on that, it takes a minute to load. So this is why I suggest not buying the textbook, because to me this question help, these resources right here are so valuable because it targets the question that you're on. So we're in section 1.1, we're looking at how to plot a point. Now it's not going to open me up exactly to the right page to where it's going to be like boom, this is where it teaches you, but it's going to take you to section 1.1. It's going to take you right to the section where you need to talk about, and you can see right there on this page, it's talking about the quadrants. It's talking about in the first quadrant that you're positive, positive, and then positive, negative, negative, positive, and so forth and so on. So once again, very helpful resource, takes you right to the textbook. You got the visuals if you're a visual person and you need to be able to read it. There's your examples. The next resource is Ask My Instructor. So you could literally, like, let's say that we're on like question, let's see, I think it was like question 6. Yes. Yeah, so on question 6 there wasn't a video. And like, let's just say you're just like, oh my gosh, I have no idea how to do this. Then you can just click on Ask My Instructor, and you can say, Professor Fix, I'm having difficulty with this question. I'm plugging in -3 and I'm getting this answer. I don't understand why my answer is not matching up. And then that'll send to my email, and I can respond directly to that. It sends me a link to this question exactly, and then I can take a look at that question and provide you feedback via your email. And then obviously there's the option of print. And so you can print the whole entire homework assignment, which I will tell you that some students do, because they're like, hey, you know what, this is my grade, I'm paying thousands of dollars to go to school. To be successful in this class is more important. So like, for example, if you printed this, the whole entire assignment, you might want to consider options like, you can see how it prints it. So it's gonna, you could do it so it printed on multiple pages. You could do it where it printed like 2 pages per sheet. Just play around with that. Maybe save a little bit of paper. It might be worth the $30 in an ink cartridge it's going to cost you to print stuff out the entire semester. So that way you have this reference, because your tests were made, and then your homework was made from your tests, and your final exam was made from your tests. So whatever you see on your homework could lead to your test, which is going to lead to your final exam, and on your test it's open note. So if you had sample problems like this worked out correctly, and you were able to work them, you made little notes to yourself, this would be a very valuable resource for you to use. All right, so like I said, this is kind of like a best practices, like how do I navigate this course? And once again, the biggest thing is that you navigate this course by going question to question, coming to the question. If you have previous knowledge, you go ahead and do it. So, hey, you know what? Let's just say this. Let's say I think I know how to do this question, and I type in it's 10, and I press enter. That doesn't hurt my grade, because now I click OK, and I have an opportunity to change my answer. And if I don't know if I don't know how to do it, then I can go to my resources and I can get help from it. And if these resources don't help me, I can click on Ask My Instructor and send me an email that I will then teach you. So by the time you hit the due date for this assignment, any question you were struggling with, you should be able to have accomplished that question and have 100% on these homework assignments. Hopefully this helps you understand the process that is designed for this course, so that you can move through it successfully without getting stressed out, without spending too much time just on one question. And most importantly, there is no need for you to search YouTube. If you cannot get help from the directions or the resources that are provided right here, then you click on Ask My Instructor, you send it to me, and you let me send you a video to help you with that particular problem, or let me respond to you. I know some of you will still go to YouTube and you'll still search YouTube religiously. Hey, that's up to you, but I'm telling you, this course was designed so that you don't have to do that. You don't have to spend hours searching the web to find how to do this question. Your resources are provided here. If those don't provide enough, click on Ask My Instructor and send the question to me, and I'll provide you assistance. Thanks so much. I look forward to a great semester. I appreciate your hard work in advance.